Excuse the interruption, but I'm Quentin Sears. Christian, how did you take the news that Alex won't be coming back this season?
I'm Christian Kvilvang. I was pretty bummed out at first, but looking at the bright side of things, at least now I'll still be able to get a few shots off each game.
A few? As in your usual 25 shots per game?
Every one of those 25 shots is a quality shot. You can't complain about quality shots. Welcome to another edition of ETI, boys and girls. On today's show, we have Who Am I, Good Cop, Bad Cop, and we end with the big finish. But to start off, we have headlines. Quentin, what's the word on Alex's recovery this season?
Word has it that he's out for the season. His doctor won't clear him. I've watched him play and he can make all the cuts and moves he needs to at almost full speed. But I can see where the doctor's coming from. You can't trust a completely reconstructed ACL just 3 months after the surgery.
What I've heard from outside sources, this outside source being Bonnie Freegee, said that with Alex's knee, he's in the process of where he feels no pain, but if he were to make an actual cut in a game-like situation, that thing would just tear right in half again. I don't know if this is a reliable source, but I wouldn't take any chance, especially with his basketball career on the line.
We will definitely miss him on the court come tournament time, especially his height and scoring.
That's for sure. And another time we missed Alex was when we played the 1, 2, and number 8 seeds in the state. How did the boys fare during that time?
It was a very tough week, I thought, but it really showed where we stand against the top teams in the state. We put up a good fight against 4 Winds in rugby, but couldn't hold on in the end.
In the 4 Winds game, I don't like to say that I'm okay with losing a game, but going into that game, there's a lot of things going on around you, especially with the atmosphere that you have to play under. So in that one, I can kind of understand, but I feel like we definitely should have won that rugby game. We were up 6 going into the 4th quarter, and we just kind of fell apart after that. We gave up offensive rebounds, and we couldn't get a point.
I completely agree with you. Heidelberg just took over in the second half, but it was a good loss for the team and we learned from it.
I can't take much more of this boys basketball talk because I'm starting to get emotional. So, how'd the girls fare against Carrington and Park River this last week?
I thought the girls played very good against Carrington. Carrington was undefeated before we played them, and we made them look like an average team. We even had an off night, only shooting 25%.
One thing I can take out of that Carrington game is that we didn't start out very well, but once we started getting going, we really had control throughout. And at the beginning, I think it really affected our field goal percentage when we were missing all these bunnies that we probably should have made. In the Park River game, it looked like we had control right away, but we just couldn't close that game out. And I think that goes to show that we really need to work on our late game situations and practice more.
Completely agree, partner.
Quentin, do you think that the boys are deserving of their number 7 ranking that just came out yesterday?
In my opinion, Christian, yes. I can see where people argue that we aren't deserving of the ranking because of our lack on offense this year. We've struggled on the offensive end because of poor shooting, but I think by tournament time and season's end, our shots will start falling.
I can almost see where our offense is coming a lot better now. In these last few games, we've been putting up almost 60 to 70 points every single game. One thing I think we need to work on more now is our defense, which we thought was really strong at the beginning of the year. In the last 2 to 3 games, we've given up 60, 70 points each time. That's something we really need to work on if we want to make it back to the state tournament. Quentin, I know this is a tough subject for you, but what's your girls' district rundown?
You know, Christian, I'm going to have to say I can see the Lady Bearcats coming out on top. They fared well against all the teams they played this season, went undefeated in district play. The only team I can see giving us a decent run at the championship game is Langdon.
I can almost see that too, just because Langdon always puts out 5 athletes every single time they come out on the floor. Before I heard that Lexi Whitmire had mono, yeah, I know. I just got that word this other day. That's awful. It's one thing that they're going to have to rebound from. She's their top player too. But anyways, going into the tournament, I thought Lexi Whitmire would really help Rolette maybe give us a run for the district championship. But now going into it, I can see Langdon or even a team like Rolla. If they get hot from 3 and Allie Vondell takes over the game, that's a team that could be very scary. We'll take a short break, and next we have Who Am I? Welcome back, and now we have a segment called Who Am I? Quentin, you're Sarah Hagler, starting forward for the North Star girls basketball team. How do you feel about scoring 1,000 points?
Well, I couldn't have done it without all the little people on the team who passed me the ball whenever I hollered for it. But considering that basketball is not even close to my favorite sport, I guess I can be somewhat proud of the accomplishment. Think how many points I could have scored if I really liked basketball, or if Allie hadn't been hogging the ball for the past 2 seasons. I could have matched my brother's scoring record.
Quentin, who am I?
Christian, you're Riley Legacy. Riley, what do you think about your role on the team?
Let's just say that I'm the kind of guy that you don't want in your team during practice. I'm constantly just flying everywhere, but hey, somebody has to do what I do. I don't get any of the glory that all the other guys get, but I'm out there giving my all every single play, and all I do is get yelled at. If you ask me, I'm the real star of this team, and I should be getting more touches than I do. I mean, come on, I just made my first 3 of the season against Dunseith. I'm hot.
Christian, who am I?
Quentin, you're Mr. Hagler, head coach of the North Star boys basketball team. How do you feel about Alex's injury this year?
I just got news the other day that possibly our best player won't be back for the rest of the season. I mean, going into this season, I thought we would be dominant, but with the loss of Alex, my hopes of a second state championship are pretty much down the drain, and with losing all the seniors after this year, next year's team will have no chance whatsoever. We'll be lucky if we get 4th in the district. I'd have to be a total fool to come back and coach this team next year.
So does that mean you're not planning on coming back?
That's not what I said. I said I'd have to be a total fool to come back. I give it 50-50.
That's it for Who Am I? We'll take a short break, and coming up next we have Good Cop, Bad Cop. Welcome to the precinct, boys and girls. I'm Officer Kvilvang along with Officer Sears. Let's take the first case. Quentin, how do you feel about there being 2 girls' junior high games before a varsity game?
You know, Officer Kvilvang, I actually enjoy this because I get to watch my little sister play. She's only a 7th grader, so she doesn't get many 8th grade minutes, and being there's so many junior high girls, I think it's a great idea to have 2 games.
You know, I couldn't disagree with you more because having to sit through those 2 games is worse than sitting and watching paint dry. Watching the ball go up and down the floor, and there's sometimes where there's a quarter without somebody scoring. It looks like almost like a boys' varsity game. I can't handle it anymore.
Officer Kvilvang, what do you think about the super region for 6-team districts?
I'm going to have to say that's a good thing just because I like the idea of that. Because if you have 6 teams having to play through a district tournament and then going to a region tournament, that can just take a wear on everybody. So if they were just to have 1 tournament, I think that would benefit the athletes, coaches, and the fans.
I don't see where you're coming from there. Every high school athlete loves to go through districts and regionals because just the atmosphere and plus getting to play those other games on usually a bigger court and something like that. I just think it's not a good idea to go super region.
Quentin, how do you feel about old Mr. Helge running boys basketball practice?
You know, partner, I love when he runs practice. You know why? Look at these arms. When Mr. Haugen runs practice, if we make a mistake at all, push-ups all the time. I think this is great for little scrawny guys like me.
I honestly couldn't hate it more because, first of all, I think push-ups are ruining our shots. Haugen is probably the main reason that we're shooting the percentage that we're shooting right now. We're doing probably close up to 100 push-ups per practice when he's running it. And if you look at our shooting percentage, it's down near 30. All this needs to be blamed on Coach Haugen. That's it for Good Cop, Bad Cop. Now it's time for the big finish. Quentin, how do you go from 22 points in the Park River game all the way down to 0?
You know, I thought there was some wind in the Rolla gym. I just couldn't find the hole. Christian, when will the boys start showing their dunking ability?
Well, North Star really isn't known for having a bunch of athletes that can go up and dunk the ball. We're more about just putting the ball in the hoop because if you really think about it, a layup counts as much as a dunk. Quentin, Greenlee's birthday was just a couple days ago, and Emily Gibbons had to spend her birthday in Dunseith. How would you feel if you were Emily?
Well, since the boys lost the game in Dunseith, sorry, Emily.
Couldn't feel more worse for you.
Christian, what do you think about yourself and Sarah reaching 1,000 points?
That's something that shows truly how hard you have to work to get to that basketball scoring milestone. But Quentin, I know you're going to get there. It just takes time and practice. Keep doing what you're doing, and you will get there. Love you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
That's it for this episode. We'll try and do better next time. Good night, knuckleheads.
Good night, can do.